You are holding a $7 package of chicken breast right now, and depending on which brand you picked up to 105s of that is tap water. Not flavor, not protein, not anything your body needs. Salt water that was injected into the muscle tissue at the processing plant, weighed on the scale, and priced at the exact same per pound rate as the actual chickens surrounding it. Consumers who know this estimate, they could be paying up to an additional $1.70 per package for added salt water, with the total annual cost to U.S. families estimated to be $2 billion. $2 billion every year for water. And there is a 2-second label check that stops this permanently. It costs you nothing. It takes less time than reading the sell-by date. And once you know what to look for, you will never unknowingly buy injected meat again. But before I show you the fix, you need to understand how we got tricked in the first place, because this isn't a coincidence. This is design. Here is a piece of industry history that explains your grocery bill. Poultry processors have been injecting chicken with saltwater solutions since the 1970s. It started as a response to a real problem. As producers selectively bred leaner, faster-growing birds, the meat became drier and blander than it used to be. Birds had less intramuscular fat, less natural moisture, less flavor. The industry had two options: slow down the production line and raise better birds, or inject water and salt into the existing ones to simulate what natural fat used to provide. And they chose the water, and then they named it something that sounds like a feature. They called it enhanced. They called it plumped. Some packages say marinated for flavor. One national brand labels theirs flavored with up to 15% of a solution of chicken broth, salt, and natural flavoring. That phrase, buried on the front of the package in the second smallest type legally permitted, means you are paying for salt water by the pound. It is not unusual for poultry to declare 8 to 12% retained water on the label, and that's just the baseline chilling process. The intentional injection products go higher. Your brain reads juicy, your brain reads flavorful, your brain reads enhanced. Your brain does not read, we added 15% water weight and charged you meat prices for it. That's not quality assurance, that's conditioning. The USDA even allows the term all natural on chicken injected with salt water because water and salt are considered natural ingredients. Natural implies nothing about processing. The word you have been trusting means exactly nothing in this context. And here's what actually matters. 2 words on a label, 2 words that tell you whether you're buying meat or buying meat, plus a hidden surcharge of water. This is the 2-part label protocol. It takes 5 seconds. And it works on every package of chicken, pork, or turkey in any grocery store in the country. The first thing to look for is the phrase contains up to X% of a solution. That X is the percentage of your purchase price you are paying for water and salt. If it says 8%, then roughly $1 of every $12 package is salt water. If it says 15%, you are buying almost 2 ounces of water per pound of chicken. If it says nothing, go to step 2. The second thing to check is the sodium content on the nutrition label. A serving of plumped chicken can contain between 200 to 500 milligrams of sodium. Non-plumped chicken generally contains only 45 to 70 milligrams per serving. That is a potential increase of more than 900%. If raw chicken shows more than 100 milligrams of sodium per serving, the meat has been injected. Put it back. Those 2 checks cost you nothing. They take 5 seconds. And they are the difference between buying protein and buying protein diluted with a salt bath. Now, the alternative, the actual product to reach for instead. Air-chilled chicken is processed in temperature-controlled cold chambers where purified air cools each bird individually, rather than submerging them in a communal ice water vat. No absorption, no retained water, and no hidden weight gain billed to you at meat prices. The brands to look for: Bell & Evans, Mary's Chicken, and the Kirkland Signature label at Costco, which now carries air-chilled product. Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and Sprouts Farmers Market carry air-chilled options. The label will say air-chilled prominently. Sometimes it says no retained water. Either phrase means the same thing. What you are paying for is 100% meat. Be prepared to pay a couple more dollars a pound. But keep in mind you are not paying for extra water weight. The effective price per pound of actual protein is often comparable to or lower than the injected product once you do the math. Here is the exact shopping protocol. Use it every single time. Pick up the package. Turn it over or check the front label. Look for the words contains or enhanced or flavored with a solution. If any of those phrases appear, the product has been injected. Check the percentage, that is the fraction of your purchase that is water. Set it down. If the label is clean, flip to the nutrition facts. Check sodium per serving for raw chicken. The number should be under 100 milligrams. Then under 75 is ideal. That range tells you the bird's sodium comes from its natural muscle chemistry, not a saltwater needle. If both checks pass, you have found unadulterated meat. Buy it. Here is the insider rule that most people miss entirely. And the words organic and natural tell you nothing about water content. Organic standards prohibit synthetic chemicals, but they do not prohibit water chilling or salt injections. You can buy organic chicken that still retains 8% chlorinated water weight. The only claim that matters is air-chilled or no retained water. Organic is a farming standard. Air-chilled is a processing standard. You need both, and air-chilled is the one the industry hopes you keep ignoring. One more check for frozen meat and pork. Scan the fine print for the phrase up to X% solution anywhere on the package. And some companies market poultry pumped with up to 30% added solution to the food service sector. Frozen pork products, especially tenderloins and chops, frequently carry 12 to 15% solution injections with no front label disclosure. So the sodium number catches this every time. Above 100 milligrams per serving on raw, unseasoned pork or chicken, the product has been injected. Results are immediate. Your first purchase using this protocol is your last unknowing water purchase. You might be wondering, is injected chicken actually dangerous, or is this just a money issue? Both. But the health angle is real, and the industry would rather you focus on neither. The American Heart Association recommends limiting sodium intake to 500 milligrams daily. Just one serving of plump chicken could account for a third of your entire daily sodium allowance. If you are cooking chicken for a family of 4 and each portion is 400 milligrams of sodium from raw meat alone, then before any seasoning, before any sauce, before any side dish, you have already used over a quarter of the day's safe sodium budget on something that is supposed to be blank protein. Phosphates are used to bind water to the muscle fibers so the injection doesn't simply drain out during transport. While they are considered food safe, some sources suggest potential health risks from prolonged high dietary phosphate intake, and their use is restricted in some countries. On the regulatory side, the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service does require that retained water be declared on labels. Retained water requirements are consumer protection standards and exist specifically to prevent economic adulteration. That phrase, economic adulteration, is the government's own term for what this practice is. It is not enhancement. It is not a feature. The agency whose job is protecting consumers named it adulteration. The label disclosure rule exists. The problem is it was designed to be findable by regulators, not by a shopper with 90 seconds in a refrigerator aisle. Now you know where to look. Let's look at the full number. The U.S. poultry sector generated $70.2 billion in total sales in 2024. Opponents estimate the total annual cost to U.S. families from saltwater injection alone is $2 billion. $2 billion extracted from grocery budgets nationwide for tap water, priced and sold as chicken. That is not a rounding error. That is a business model, a processing method that injects 15% water into a product and sells it at full meat prices, in a market doing $45 billion in chicken sales alone, is not a quality decision. It is a revenue decision. The water cost essentially nothing to add. The needles cost essentially nothing to run. And for decades, the disclosure language was small enough then and buried well enough that the overwhelming majority of buyers had no idea it was there. Now you do. 2 checks. The solution percentage on the front label. The sodium number on the nutrition facts. That is all that stands between you and buying what you actually paid for. No new brand loyalty required, no specialty store required. This protocol works at Walmart, at Kroger, at any discount grocery chain in the country. An industry extracting $2 billion a year from families by selling them water at chicken prices is not a business model built on quality. It's a business model built on ignorance, and ignorance is the only part of that equation you control. If this saved you money, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm to show this video to other people paying premium prices for what is legally classified as economic adulteration. And if you want the next food industry markup exposed, then the video on your screen right now shows you exactly that. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.